Hi, I'm Rob, pastor of Calvary Chapel, Turlock. What should a Christian think about Vice President Kamala Harris becoming the presumptive Democratic nominee for president? We know that Kamala began her political career by publicly dating and sleeping with a man named Willie Brown, former Speaker of the California Assembly and eventual mayor of San Francisco. Willie happened to be married at the time, but apparently open adultery wasn't even a speed bump for the conscience of Kamala. Willie did provide her with critical appointments and introductions to pave the way for success in California's political machine. She became the district attorney for San Francisco, the attorney general of California, and then later ran for the United States Senate and won. She threw her hat into the 2020 presidential race and fared poorly, but the hard left lobbied the Biden camp for her as VP. Kamala has been fully exposed in the public eye for years now. Her stance on political and social issues are quite apparent. She has been a hardcore advocate for gay pride, homosexual marriage, and transgenderism, even introducing herself with preferred pronouns. Kamala is a celebrated champion of DEI and a clarion voice for abortion on demand without limits. She zealously advances a Marxist worldview, seeing the government as the best means for redistributing the wealth. We could go on and on about her immoral and unconstitutional record. But that's not my point. I want us to see the bigger picture here. Kamala Harris and her ascendancy as the apparent Democratic nominee for president is merely the symptom of a very troubled nation. Even if she doesn't win the race, it will be close. Tens of millions of Americans will vote for her as the best candidate to lead this country. And already tens of millions of dollars have flooded her campaign coffers. It should cause us as Christians to stop and ask ourselves, how could a person so drastically opposed to every facet of biblical morality rise to a place of serious presidential contender? What has happened to us as a people that almost half of our nation openly supports the values of Sodom and Gomorrah? And most importantly, do we as the church bear any of that responsibility? I think the answer is a sobering yes. Now obviously, the Great Commission to go and make disciples is not primarily political. But honestly, if we were doing our job and making disciples and teaching them to live in obedience to the commands of Christ, would our nation so mindlessly support such a Jezebel? I don't think so. We have played a part, sadly, in the great immoral and spiritual collapse of America. How? By not genuinely carrying out the Great Commission. In fact, American evangelicals regularly lose 60 to 70% of our own children to the world. Like Old Testament Israel, we have too often sacrificed the truth on the altar of cultural relevance, and the fallout has been staggering. Our big-name pastors, Joel Osteen, Rick Warren, Bill Hybels, Andy Stanley, and so on, so many others, have intentionally watered down the Word of God to remain culturally friendly. We have not been salt and light to our nation. And therefore our neighbors have not seen the shining city on a hill. They have not seen the righteousness of Christ lived out with passion and joy. Far too often they've simply seen their own reflection in the mirror of modern Christianity. If we start systematically preaching the Word of God to our congregations tomorrow, and start living out the Great Commission of Christ in a tangible sense, we're not going to stop the candidacy of Kamala Harris, but we will see a dramatic rise in righteous living as a testimony to the power of Christ. And that will make an impact on the world. Jesus said in Matthew 5:16, "Let your light so shine before men that they may see your good works and glorify your Father in heaven." And that's a worthy pursuit. Thanks for watching, and have a blessed day.